what's up guys? I'm really excited today because I want to share the story with you guys. A lot of people don't know what the story of Forcible is. It's really easy to find, but a lot of people just don't go out of their way to go look for it. And some people aren't interested, but I think once you start hearing about it, it gets really interesting. So I'm going to break it down by set. So I'm going to start with Crimson Moon's fairy tale. So let's see what we're starting off with. So I'm going to be tagging this video as card discussion because I'm also going to go through why they have certain effects for some cards or why there's certain cards that have certain art. In the beginning of the story, it talks about how magic stones are these amazing things that can grant power to all these people with special abilities, and those people are called rulers. A prophet from the moon lets the earth know that when the moon itself is to shine crimson red, that a great evil is going to kind of fall upon the world. And Grimm's the only one that actually pays attention to the story because he's always lost in his books. He always likes different stories and all this stuff. So he takes this actually very literal, and he's really worried and wants to do anything he can to protect the world. And if you see Kaguya, well, Seer the Blue Moon's flavor text, it says, I don't know if it's going to be a little blurry, but it says, once the blue moon shines in the night sky, the prophecies shall come true. So it's kind of this idea of, you know, like, oh, once the moon is there, it starts turning red, all this evil is going to fall upon the world, and they kind of need these rulers and or heroes, however you might want to refer to them, to kind of come up and fight this great evil. So Grimm, who lives in his light castle, decides, you know, there's no way we can let this happen. This is going to be a real thing. Evil's going to attack the world. We have to set up. And around this time, one of the times he's just lost in his book, that's exactly what happens. He's looking out the window. He sees the pale moon turn red. And Dracula comes out, and Dracula starts summoning all these crazy demons, vampires that start attacking everything. So he's like, you know, oh, well, you're in your light castle. I'm, you know, in the sky flying because I'm a crazy vampire and I'm going to kill you all. So Grimm decides, you know what? I have to get to Dracula, who lives, of course, in his castle that appears out of nowhere. And I have to fight him. And he teams up with none other than Little Red Riding Hood. So Grimm teams up with Little Red, and Little Red gives him a Grimoire that helps him fight the evil by summoning all these fairy tales that Grimm can do. That's his power that he was bestowed by resonating with magic stones. He can pretty much tap into the fairy tales, which, you know, explains his effect perfectly. And Little Red, of course, this one is Little Red the Wolf Girl. She can transform into a wolf during the full moon, which Grimm kind of finds sketchy as hell because he's kind of like, okay, why is she doing this? This is kind of awkward, but, you know, a different problem for a different day. And on their way to the castle of Alvarez, which of course I'll just leave over here because that's their destination. They're just walking over here. They run into Christy, who of course wants to help fight evil too because she hates all the evil and vampires in the world because she is a bro. And they also find out that Joan, who hates humanity, and Bloody Snow White are kind of on a rampage too now because their stories are pretty much messed up and they have to be returned. So Grimm and Christy and Little Red fight against Joan and Bloody Snow White, sorry, and they return them to the story. So that's where Return to Stories comes, the art and stuff too. It also, this one doesn't have any flavor text, but a lot of these cards, they say, like, you know, Joan thinks that God's telling her to do all this and everything, and it's just really interesting. They don't have specific details on what happens during this fight or anything like that, but it is said that they fight Joan and Bloody Snow White and return them to the stories. So on their way to the Alvarez, Little Red also mentions that the only way they can actually defeat Dracula is with the power of Pandora. Pandora happens to be locked in a forest by Dracula, and I guess he knows that she's kind of his only weakness. Because if she discards his hand, he might lose some of his vampires and he can't deactivate anymore. Kidding, of course, because this is an actual card fight like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know, where they solve all their problems with dueling. But yeah, so they want to go rescue Pandora from the forest, and when they do, she joins the party. So, you know, it's kind of like a typical RPG party where you have the mage and the DPS and whatnot. And so they all go to Alvarez, they're confronting Dracula, they're all fighting, and Little Red has always had this little stutter kind of thing she has going where she always says, not a lie. So every time she kind of finishes her sentences, she kind of gives you like a fact. She'll say, not a lie, which is really sketchy because it's like, why are you saying that? And so they're all fighting, you know, Pandora's over here like blasting him with her magic. Christy's like trying to negate his abilities. Little Red is like, you know, turning into a wolf and just like slashing him and whatever. And Grimm is using his fairy tales summons to destroy Dracula. And when he eventually does lose, we're going to arrest him because, you know, he lost. They're not 100% sure if he's actually defeated or not because he is immortal, but they do happen to beat him. And during this time, Grimm starts getting really transparent and weak and really weird, and nobody understands why it's going on. And he's like slowly losing consciousness. And it happens to be that the book that Little Red gave him is actually a book of contradictions, and the more you use it, the more you lose power. So she's kind of like just evil, and she's not on Dracula's side or Grimm's side. She doesn't really care. She just has her own agenda, and so she betrays pretty much everyone. And we'll just put him away, and Grimm passes out, so he's gonna get arrested too. And as Grimm is passing out, he notices a giant tower reaching for the sky, which is of course the Tower of Despair that belongs to Abdul, and that story will be continued in the Castle of Heaven and Two Towers. I hope you guys enjoyed Crimson Moon's fairy tale story as much as I did. I'm going to be uploading the Castle of Heaven and Two Towers tomorrow, so I can't wait to give you guys that. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I want to finish up the story before Millennia of Ages and all the other stuff drop at the end of this week, so we're all caught up on the story, we're all caught up on all the cool little effects and additions of the lore, and then I'm going to be covering all of that once that drops. So make sure you guys subscribe so all those videos come straight to you, and I will catch you guys next time.